Go here, coming to you live about 4 o'clock, giving you an update on a very important story that happened. It was actually yesterday, but I wanted to see what the media uh, message was regarding this. And this is, of course, the infamous uh, executive committee meeting. For those who don't know, the Republican Party of Arkansas held a meeting yesterday where their executive committee voted to dissolve the Saline County GOP committee, the entire committee. I'm going to show you a little bit. I have this in the intro image. This is a rally they had at the Capitol. About 30 people showed up to that. But the gist of what happened is, number one, Jennifer Lancaster has been removed for 20 years from holding a party office. They removed her as second district chair and blocked her from holding an office for the next 20 years. This is the executive director, Seth Mays, who failed to inform people that there were runoff elections going on today. But basically said that these are recommendations done by two rules review committees, all behind closed doors. So, of course, you have no idea what's going on. And there was another complaint that declared the Saline County Republican Committee as completely vacant. Now, the making the entire committee vacant was the original complaint for that was done by Clint Lancaster. It was directed against the 8 members of the county's executive committee. So 8 people. The original complaint was against 8 people. And what the Republican Party of Arkansas did, most likely under the orders of the same folks that run the consultant class, is decide to kick out over 200 people. The county committee has more than 200 people. And this is part of a statement from, I believe, the chair, Frank Curtis, that the county committee had more than 200 members, and they had no idea that there were even proceedings pending against them. Now, this executive committee, by the way, did abide by the rules in terms of requiring what's known as a 10-day notice. A 10-day notice in order to discuss this issue. So they were able, at least given that notice, unlike the one where they nullified the state convention, which they didn't abide by even that rule then. And the other side, opposition, was allowed to at least write statements. I think later on in this article, Jennifer Lancaster says that she only had 5 minutes to defend herself. But the main thing to focus on is that the Republican Party of Arkansas decided to punish 200 people, many of whom had no idea what was going on, over a alleged complaint against 8 people. And by the way, there was not even a rule. This is one of the 8 people here, Frank Curtis. They don't even cite the rule that Frank Curtis broke. So they have no justification for doing this. And this is the problem, is the Republican Party of Arkansas is run by about 16 or so members of the executive committee who just don't care. And they want to nullify these 200 people. Earlier in this, when they nullified the state convention, they nullified the will of over 400 people in regards to the rule changes, one of which is the requiring that state legislatures, instead of getting a free vote in the state committee meeting, actually be required to run to get that vote, just like the chair and the committee man, the committee woman. Our state committee meeting is December 7th, this coming Saturday at the Robinson Theater. It's only going to be a few hours, in part because Bill Clinton's supposed to speak at that same location. And it's already being sabotaged in part because of these executive committee meetings where they're just kicking people out and changing the rules like a bunch of cowards. I have thought of the idea of this, of just dissolving the whole Republican Party and just leaving it to these 16 people, because they seem to want to run everything behind closed doors. There was a lot of drama with Saline County. For those who don't know, and I'll show you this story. This is also in the Democrat Gazette. This is punches thrown at the Saline County GOP. And this image, by the way, was part of my video. And this is a screenshot. YouTube Key Cards illegal. Now, I gave them the Rumble account because the cowards at YouTube, who are still which is still run by leftists, needs to be taken over by Elon Musk, put an age restriction, meaning you have to log in order to see this footage. So what I'll do is instead, since they did that, is I'll show this link, which is the original link, and let me just play this from about the beginning right here. Boom, and that's where the file. I'll back it up again. To say a few things. Started. Now, a lot of people will focus on this, and some other media outlets will claim, well, that's why this was done. No, it was the Republican Party of Arkansas has a slam the door in conservatives policy, and they hate conservatives. They don't want them involved in the Republican Party. They only want them for their free votes and their money and their volunteerism. And they really don't even want them for that. I know that the Adopt a State campaign was pitiful. And most of it was done by the 1st District of Arkansas, not by the RPA. RPA headquarters was empty several Saturdays that I drove by it. And I highly doubt that. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other states that did a lot better job of fighting for Donald Trump in those battleground areas than Arkansas. Scott Pezler probably did more than the whole state. I wish if I could, I would fire Joseph Wood and replace him with Scott Pezler just because of what he did in Pennsylvania. Speaking of the meeting December 7th and removing Joseph Wood, there is a person who is running for office that is far more qualified. There's one that's part of this little 30 group that's there, and he's shown, I think, in this story. Yeah, that's him. That's Mike Schnakel. He's a candidate for that office, but he's part of the Jennifer Lancaster faction, which, as you can see, only had about 30 to maybe 50 people at most. But there is a much better person who is, I think, is far more qualified. And if I can find the story, I'll show it to you. It's a little hard to navigate this. This is a South Arkansas Reckoning, a much better, which I think is a much better website in terms of getting news. And they actually had someone else who is running for this office. If I can find them, there it is. This is Margot Herzl. She's actually a parliamentarian. She also was instrumental in putting paper ballots in Sharp County. So she's not just a conservative activist, which is good enough, but she's actually been successful in fighting against the establishment. I say this as if somebody wants to run for office, when have you fought against the Uniparty? When have you fought against not just the Democrats, but the GOP consultant class? And so she has a record of doing that, and she is running for chair against Joseph Wood, who, in addition to failing to even gain seats in the Arkansas legislature, has also been attacking conservatives on a regular basis. Anyway, that's just a real quick update of what I wanted to talk about. Wednesday, 12:35, I'll do a broadcast with a little more detail. I'll have some exclusive content on what's going on. You can follow me at Just the Right Angle on Rumble and YouTube. Keep Arkansas Legal. But again, YouTube does restrict me, so I prefer Rumble. I actually am able to make some money on there. I'll also do a Podbean Just the Right Angle as well. I kind of did this a spur of the moment, and I do have some errands to run. But anyway, you all have a great day. And remember, when the wicked rule, the people groan. That's in the Bible.